Hello, and welcome to the Black Dice Society. This is episode 10, The Order of the Silver Dragon. As you can tell, I apologize. I am very sick, so I will be muting my mutant sounds intermittently, so you don't hear sniffling or coughing fits or anything of the like. Bear with me, y'all, because the show must go on, though. Thankfully, I have these amazing people to literally carry me through this. So let's do the introductions first, starting with Nora.
Hi everyone, I'm Nora Ibrahim. You can find me everywhere at Noralogical, and tonight I play Nahara, who is a reborn Fallen Azamar undead warlock with a few levels of College of the Spirit Bard, here for all your spooky Taroka deck needs and spooky foreshadowing. I'm also trying to everything just kind of went down on my screen right now. I'm trying to pull it back up. So, and I was like, please don't let me be first. And I was first in the introduction. So take it away, somebody else.
Because of course you were first, although
Yes.
we can see and hear you, so it's not all bad. So
Great, yeah.
All right. Tanya.
Hello, I'm Tanya. I play Fen, your drow Dhampir blood hunter with a little bit of beastiner, and on occasion a bit of warlock shenanigans. Fen's pronouns and mine are she, her.
And Mark.
Hello, I'm Mark Neer. I use he, him pronouns, as does my character, Brother Uriah Macabre, cleric of the grave and worshipper of Ezra, Lady of the Mists, who made a in-person appearance last week.
This did. She showed up for a fan signing. Yep. Becca.
Oh my goodness, that's me. Hello, everyone. I'm Becca Scott, and here I'm Tatiana Astoria. I have a last name now. My friend gave it to me. It's not a big deal. It's fine. It's no big deal at all. I am an Air Genasi barbarian druid. Circle of the moon. Bear totem. Basically, you can never hurt me or kill me. It's impossible. It's just impossible. It's fine. Anyway, that's me.
I heard B. Dave say challenge accepted in his head.
It was like can only hurt your feelings, which, because the one thing that hurts you is psychic damage, that is literally true. The only thing that can hurt is your feelings.
Yeah.
DJ.
Oh, hi. I'm DJ Knight. I play Desmond, human, ranger, lycanthrope. Our pronouns are he, him. You're awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us.
And last but certainly not least, our special guest, hailing from parts unknown, V.
Hey everyone, I'm V Muse. Tonight I'm playing Voronica, just your little Dark Lord of Koshmar, and both of our pronouns are she, her.
Excellent. Sage was unfortunately called away. She's off doing a happy thing. It's all good, and she'll be back with us next week.
A front pagey thing.
A front pagey thing. That is true, So she's not here for a good thing. We'll just leave it at that. Again, as always, the Black Dice Society is a horror show. As such, you might see content that you do not normally encounter in D&D streams. I am, of course, aware of everybody's lines and veils. We have our safety system in place where they can notify me if something's wrong. So if a scene should stop abruptly, maybe it's because it's squicking somebody out. Because consent and comfort and safety are the most important thing at the table. As always, thank you to our sponsors, which I have to rush through because I'm about to start coughing and dying. Die Hard Dice, Secret Lab Chairs, Warriors Waterdeep, T Public, Idle Champions. Of course, if you put the exclaim code in chat, you will get a code for Idle Champions, where you might just be able to add Desmond and Tatiana to your formation now. Maybe, Also, we have our incredible museum quality art. Type exclaim BDS art in the chat. And remember, every time you purchase one of these, we make a donation to World Builders to help in global hunger. So you don't only get to have a beautiful piece of art, you get to help some people. And as always, thank you to our Patreon. You literally make it possible to do what we do. Just put up a new side adventure with Valentine. Found out what Valentine was doing when everyone else was doing a deep dive through Nahara's memories. And we just pitched multiple ideas for bonus content to ourselves that I don't even want to say out loud because you guys will be like, do it. And I need to make sure we can do it. But it's kind of incredible. So, patreon.com/The Black Dice Society. And with all of that said, on with our show. here on the road of Barovia, in the middle of nowhere, around the ruin of a grave digger's cart. Brother Uriah, you've tended to Arena. She's stabilized, although it is clear to everybody it's going to be some time before the marks the caller left on her mind with the vision she showed to her will be completely healed. As all of you didn't necessarily have to share what it is she showed you, you all know she knew exactly where to twist that particular knife. In a miraculous moment, Brother Uriah called out to the Raven Queen. In miracle of miracles, she answered, helping deliver both victory and revenge on the caller. But Uriah, you know, Ezra told you she could deliver this revenge to Finn, but it is a revenge that would bring no peace. Now, it's clear that you all were going to have to bed down for the night out here, exposed out in the open. Really one of the worst possible scenarios in Barovia. Desmond and Tatiana have left to go hunting to try and find some meager food to see you all through the night, especially because you didn't necessarily expect to stay here, especially not with Ismark and Arena. They've been gone for about an hour. Not necessarily an excessive amount of time. They are very capable, but the longer they spend out of eyeshot and earshot becomes increasingly more troubling. So now here, in the ruin of the cart, Uriah, Nahara, and Finn, what are you all doing?
Fen is quiet. She's pretty much introspective about the fight. And she doesn't know what to say to anyone, actually. She's just kind of sitting cross-legged, thinking really, really hard. She's not opposed to talking to anyone, but she doesn't feel like she can approach anybody right now.
I don't suppose she got into your heads as well.
Caller, you mean? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, she showed me it all those years ago, when I was nearly taken as a child. It was her.
Was it really, or was she playing tricks on you? Was it really her?
I don't think she was lying. And what else she told me? My so-called uncle, Firan Zalhonen, might not be the ally we think he is.
What do you mean?
If what she told me is true, then it was he who employed her service.
Oh, why would he do such a thing?
We know that he's in opposition to Aslan Rex, and clearly he sought to disrupt whatever plans Aslan had for me. But perhaps he reevaluated, or his plans changed. He certainly had the opportunity to kill any of us when we were his guests.
Well, if he could have, why do you think it is that he hasn't, or didn't?
As I say, the situation may have altered, his plans changed. This was years ago, and from what she said, I wasn't the only target on her list that he provided. I suspect he was trying to eliminate the other, well, clones.
Clones?
Yes. That's, I suppose, the sort of thing I am. But I wasn't the only one. We knew of the existence of others, and, well, if she's been successful, I might be the only one left.
Sorry, that's a lot to take in. I don't I can't imagine what that feels like.
Certainly given me much to ponder. If you don't mind me asking, what did she show you?
Well, she inserted herself into a memory that had been lost up until that point. This is a little difficult for me to say to you, and please understand that it was a different life that I had. But
No, please, don't worry. You can tell me.
all this time I had thought that I had once been the love of Strahd, and he called me beloved, and I believed it. But I came to remember that it was his brother Sergei that I was to wed. And that he killed him right before we were to do so.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. It's at this point, it's like as though recalling faintly a distant dream, but at least I know now that that Strahd never had my heart, and at least that gives me some comfort.
So I am very sorry for your...
And she inserted herself into this memory. She wasn't part of it that I know of originally, but still know that I choose you.
I'm very glad to hear it. And I am sorry that she dredged up such a painful memory.
She tried to taunt me by saying that I could reverse all of this and go back to the way things were. And just know that even then, even if it had been true, I refused.
I suspect she made a similar offer to everyone. Who can say how much was truth and how much was a lie? But she's gone now.
Yes.
We defeated her with...
Fen defeated her.
Yes. With Ezra's help. Did you see?
I did.
I must admit, her manner was a good deal more sinister than I was expecting. I wasn't quite expecting all the feathers and such, and certainly, well, as my connection with Ezra has grown, some unexplained spells have sprung to my mind that do not seem to fit with what I know of her, but perhaps there is more to discover.
Perhaps. Fen?
Yes.
If you're all right talking about it, what did the caller show you?
Someone I killed. She taunted me with it, and then knew that I wasn't going to fall for her tricks when she revealed herself.
Then it was humbling to watch you end her. And I know this is not necessarily a moment of triumph for you.
No, it wasn't.
Was it painful? The memory was was the person that you had killed?
Somewhat.
We all do things for our own reasons.
Yeah.
What she did was aimed at hurting us and making us doubt ourselves, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
But you have ended her threat once and for all. And she'll never hurt anyone again, thanks to you.
But at what cost?
Not quite sure.
Meanwhile, not far away, Desmond and Tatiana, you find yourself standing in a clearing, holding strange weapons, memories of an impossible journey to a shadowy land, a dark raven queen, a war between demons and the undead that you all fought right in the middle of. And you remember the Raven Queen said she wanted something from you. There was something you had to do. And at that moment, your memory goes strangely hazy. The power you felt there, gone, and returning to your former, still very formidable selves. It is only the bow in your hand, Desmond, and the spear in yours, Tatiana, that gives proof that it happened at all.
Desmond.
Yeah.
There was the zombies, and there was the, did you see? And I had this wind vane, and I made a orb, and you saw all that, right? That was real.
Yeah. And I used this.
Yeah, that was
to do
super
some very
sweet.
weird things. Huh. I don't feel as strong as I
hello.
did.
When
I
you
knew
all
it.
hear that familiar voice, Voronica spoke to you multiple times in the Shadowfell, but this time your eyes actually fall on her. At a place where a shaft of moonlight crosses the shadows of the trees, just right, you all see the outline of your familiar friend standing there, flesh and blood.
We don't want trouble.
I'm not here for trouble. I'm making sure you got back with your presents. It also looks like the two of you could eat.
Well, I could always eat.
I know. That's why I thought I'd bring something with me. And she sort of motions with her hand, and this large black panther comes creeping out from around her side. And these snake-like forms reach off of its back, and in each of its mouths, it's holding a basket of food. And she takes them. Thank you so much, Hemlock. This one's for you, Tatiana. Extra muffins. Desmond, here's one for you.
You all know, again, as you were in the court of the Raven Queen, as Voronica spoke to you, she taunted you after a fashion, but it did seem like she was trying to help, ultimately guiding you towards these very weapons that prove so useful in battle, and also helping you navigate the court of the Raven Queen. So, in her own way, she was trying to help you.
I start to take it, but instead I hit it from the bottom of the basket and send these muffins flying. What is this?
What is
You
what?
betray us? You destroy all of Kashmar and remake it in some villainous image, and then you just appear as we are transported to another world just with your voice, and then you come back, and now we're friends again? You can't just turn friendship on and off like that, Voronica.
Okay, so not hungry.
Well, I am also still hungry. But
I think
not,
you're hangry at this point. Have a muffin.
not until I understand what your intentions are. Desmond?
Desmond takes the basket and just kind of looks at the bow and looks back at Voronica and just, you brought us back with weaponry and snacks.
Yes. The Raven Queen wanted to make sure that she's upholding her end of the deal, and I'm helping.
Desmond, I know all of that sounds really good and trustworthy, but if Valentine were here, she would tell me to think about where food and weapons are coming from. It hurts me to say.
It hurts me to hear. And it also hurts that I'm not sure whether or not I can eat these.
I haven't poisoned them. I have
the
done
Raven Queen?
nothing. No. I haven't done a thing to hinder or harm you.
If we accept a gift, does that require us to somehow pay back a favor at your bidding? Because I've heard things.
We're not making a deal. This is not a contract.
I look to Desmond to see if he buys all this. As
Desmond-
I take one step closer towards the nearest muffin.
Well, Desmond just lifts up his basket and kind of just like lifts up the cloth to see what's in it. What is in it?
There is Desmond's favorite kind of jerky. Nicely sliced thin, so it practically melts in his mouth. There is a flask of his favorite mead. And there is a nice crispy crust bread that crackles as you break it open.
And it's soft on the inside, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's...
Yep. Melts in the mouth.
Desmond looks at the bread first, just because... Yes. And he picks it up and just like... Because I imagine there's multiple since it's a pretty sizable basket. So he just cracks one of them open and just looks and just... smells it. And just like bites a corner of it.
Wait, oh yeah, do it.
Voronica, I assume there are neither worms nor toes nor booby trap in the food.
There's nothing suspicious in the food.
Sorry, the toes caught me off guard. My bad.
It happens.
Hey, wisdom is knowledge multiplied by experience. Tatiana learned.
She learned slowly. A little bit.
Desmond realizes that he remembers that she did help. She did try to help when we were there. And he does have a sweet bow that he didn't have before that does some pretty awesome things. So
Both.
if it's food, might as well try it. And then also the meat looks great. So he cracks it up and then just...
As soon as you take a bite and don't die, I spin my wind vane around and I stab the nearest muffin and use my wind vane like a very long kebab to eat it. The one that I knocked on the ground.
Both Tatiana and Desmond give me wisdom checks, not saves, checks.
Great, gonna die.
Probably not from this now, no, probably.
A check. Wisdom check.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just wisdom. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
21.
Tatiana's very wisdomous.
It's a 3. It's the very opposite of how this normally works out for us.
No, the meat's kicking in already, Desmond. Yeah.
It's delicious, though, to be fair.
Yeah. Tatiana, you remember a couple of things, sort of all at once. This has been a difficult night for you. in a sea of difficult nights for Tatiana. That yes, you just had this odd journey through the Shadowfell, but before that there was the glorious battle with the Caller. What she showed you about Chibaku, what she showed you about the pits. You don't know what she showed Desmond. But even deeper than that, it seems like a lifetime ago, but it still was earlier today that you faced Armand, that Voronica doesn't know about either.
Right. So, with a mouthful of muffin, Voronica,
Hmm.
what's it feel like being a Dark Lord?
It's an interesting question. I never anticipated it. But considering everything I was hoping to do with my life, it has some parallels. It suits me. I don't expect I'd even understand. But I saw an opportunity and I took it.
I have a very good friend who would do the same if she had the opportunity, honestly. She's your friend too, or was, so.
Valentine, yes.
Look, if we're cool, I'm not mad at it. It's just you went all evil. And it was like you didn't see me anymore.
The mists are
And-
very good about getting in the way. I've had time.
Okay. This is all strange. We have had a very big couple of days. Did you, Desmond, see anything strange? You know, when we fought the Caller?
The very different look of the color compared to the carriage. Yes. That was a big.
I wasn't gonna ever talk about that ever again. No, I meant like the fight.
Not that I can remember. Save for the. It's like when we damaged the collar, they healed when they damaged us. It was interesting. And
Okay, I
also,
can't keep secrets. Can we just tell her?
Tell me what.
might as well know.
We found Armand. And he was not so alive, which I guess is not the end of the world for you since you've been dead and come back and now you're flesh when you weren't. But he's not so good.
I knew he was here. I didn't know what his fate was. I had suspicions.
We'll consider those suspicions confirmed. He
What
is as
happened?
much like Strahd as anyone else could be.
Of course. Strahd's very good at taking what he wants.
So
You
are
need to learn
you
that skill.
upset, or does being a Dark Lord kind of rot your old human emotions a little? I mean, Faye.
I am not exactly pleased that he has done such to one of Koshmar.
So you want to take Strahd down?
Let's just say that keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer definitely works when it comes to Strahd.
Okay, but
Especially the more I learn and hear about him.
oh, before we go saying names, where are we? We in Kashmir?
No, you're in
Because
Barovia.
then I thought like number one rule of Dark Lord is you can't leave your Dark Lord place.
Well, I have friends in high places.
Okay.
Same reason why I
Perfect.
was able to be with you in the Shadowfell.
Right, but you weren't like there. You are an incorporeal voice that I thought maybe I imagined.
No, that was all very real. I was very much there in thought. It's a little bit easier to be here in form.
Okay. So maybe friends in high places, you'd be a friend in a high place. Should a close enemy need to become a dead Enemy
Defeated might be a better
defeated.
turn of phrase.
That makes more sense.
Let's just say that we have interests that are crossing over each other.
Okay.
Uriah, give me religion with advantage.
With advantage,
Yes.
21.
Uriah, you gazed upon the face of the Raven Queen after a fashion. Your God heard your prayers and manifested, which is the most...
I'm sorry, did you say the Raven Queen?
Ezra. I'm getting my goddesses mixed up. A lot's happening. Ezra heard your prayers and manifested, which is the greatest blessing that any penitent could ever ask for. And as you sit here discussing things with Finn and Nahara, you get a sense, just a feeling, that Ezra's power is manifesting again nearby. Not in the miraculous, world-altering manner that she intervened on your behalf mere hours ago, but you feel Ezra's touch nearby.
Do I have a directional sense of it?
Mm-hmm. In the woods, that-ish way. In the same direction that Tatiana and Desmond left to go hunting.
Nahara, Fen, I think we should leave Ismark here with Arena and the wagon, and we need to go that way with all speed.
Why?
I feel it's a connection to Ezra. I think it's not the same as what I felt before, but I think her wonders manifest in the woods that way. That's the same direction that Tatiana and Desmond went, actually.
I don't know what this means, but I trust you.
Yes,
Nahar will take out her crystal ball and she will use it for true seeing.
The true sight reveals a couple of strange things here. As you look at Arena, you see black lines, tethers wrapped around her energetically that trail off in the distance towards Castle Ravenloft. You see two of them. You see one such bind wrapped around yourself, trailing off towards Castle Ravenloft. The land itself fights this clarity because in many ways Barovia itself is an illusion. Barovia is a prison. Barovia is a cruel trick that does not want the truth of it seen, even in the face of such powerful magic. So everything is warped and chaotic as you look through the orb.
Yes.
And in the
I imagine the two tethers from Arena have to do with the two bites that she had received.
that is
And the
definitely
one
how
because
you
of
feel.
mine.
Yes.
But nothing that would help determine what
Not yet, but the range of your true sight is limited. You basically get to the tree line. Perhaps if you were to get closer, it might reveal more.
Okay. Well, I will keep it out to see if anything shows up along the way.
Do you all intend to head that direction?
Yes.
Yes.
Uriah is gathering his things and making all haste.
Uriah, Finn, and Nahara, give me perception checks. Actually, all of you give me perception checks. Even you, Voronica.
That's a 23.
22 for me.
Perfect.
24.
Dirty 20.
Ooh, the rolls are hot.
Everybody's very
16.
capable.
24.
Very capable tonight. You all simultaneously become aware of each other's approach. Finn, Uriah, and Nahara. You all hear Tatiana and Desmond's voices. Desmond, Tatiana, and Voronica, you are aware of the approach of your friends.
Yes, I think they're just up here. Oh,
Yes, we know. We are also aware of you.
hello. You haven't. Do I feel the source of? Oh,
Yes. It
Yeah.
is so you feel it around Tatiana and Desmond as if when a person has come out of a humidor that they still smell like cigar smoke as they walk out into the room. You feel this coming off of Tatiana and Desmond, and you feel it particularly strongly coming from Voronica's crown, which, again, Uriah, Finn, and Nahara, the last time you saw her was when Kashmar was resurrected, and yet here she is standing in Barovia.
What
hello.
are you doing here?
Making sure they got back safely.
From
Look,
from
we've
where?
kind of gone over like a whole thing, and Veronica is kind of still a little bit evil, but also not that evil. And also, what is evil? It's all relative, and now she's on our side. More, we think. I don't know. The muffin was good.
Now, important
Muffin.
point of clarification. Voronica, when Nahara sees you with true sight, what does she see?
You see Voronica, but she actually has these vines that are writhing in and out of her body. She looks a lot less human-like and more a blend of plant and eladrin.
Plant?
I will also, yes, part plant. I will also say to that, Nahara, you're aware she's not really here. She's not an illusion as such, but it is like an aspect, a portion of herself is manifested here. If you were to reach out to touch her, there is flesh and blood there, but this is by no means her full might. And it is probably a significant exertion of power to even be here like this, because remember, it was all Aslan could do to even talk through Uriah, and yet there she's standing.
And is that something to do with the plant life? Is that how she's able to be here? I'm looking at this and wondering if that's the source of her being able to manifest, or is the plant-like structure from something else entirely?
Well, that you don't know. This is just what you see.
Interesting. It doesn't look like a body taker plant.
Oh, no. Doesn't look like a body taker plant. No, I mean,
No.
that is an important point
That's
of
great.
clarification.
No.
This does not look like a body taker plant.
Excellent. All right.
This is, as she moves, the vines move with her. It's a very graceful dance almost. You can tell they're much part of her as she is a part of them.
Interesting.
Speaking of what we can see, just with the naked eye, are Desmond and Tatiana attired as they were before, or are they wearing?
They are wearing the same thing, but they are both holding unusual weapons that you've never seen. Desmond has a very ornate bow, and Tatiana has a very elaborate spear. And Tatiana is happily munching away on some muffins that she has made a spear kebab with. And Desmond is holding a flask that he's drinking out of these two baskets. But otherwise, they do look the same as you saw them about an hour ago for you.
I do hope you checked those muffins for toes. Just a little joke there. And
Should there be toes? Do they
No,
need to be included
not-
next time?
Oh, there should never
no,
be
that's-
toes. That's
that's
the
I didn't
aberration,
think
yeah.
so.
No toes in the
I
muffins.
debated blueberries. I know she likes blueberries, but I figured not the right season.
I don't want to talk about the toe thing.
Of course.
We
I'm
keep
sorry
bringing
I
up the
brought it
toe thing. Everybody's bringing up the toe thing. The toe thing is not cool.
I mean,
I'm just gonna say
I
off
still
limits.
have that too. But listen, these intriguing new weapons you have, are they gifts from our friend here?
In a
Yes.
roundabout way.
Look, I felt a presence, and I feel it quite strongly around all of you.
What do you mean?
Ezra. Her power and grace, as I felt it before, not quite the same, but what happened when you were hunting?
That is a complicated question. I feel like time. Well, first of all, how long were we gone?
Only an hour or so.
Yeah, that's strange. Yeah, no,
That's it?
that's what I thought. Time. It did like I don't know how to say this. A wibble wobble.
Yeah, go wibbly wobbly, bit wibbly wobbly.
That's it.
Timey
You know
wimey.
what I'm saying.
Timey wimey wibbly wobbly.
Something like that.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I mean, it's an accepted metaphysical term. It's
Right.
yes.
Oh, good. I thought I heard it. Yeah, like in one time I went to a village and there was an artificer and trying to explain. Anyway, there was a wibble and a wobble
Oh, you went elsewhere then?
for a while, and like I don't know,
You remember?
it was a lot. So like the fight that you think we just had, we didn't just have that fight because Desmond and we had another fight.
Oh,
Oh.
with
Series
what?
of fights.
With who?
If you think our fight was bad, this fight was bad.
And during this fight, you somehow stood in the presence of Ezra herself?
Well, there was a kind of like a bird god.
Our gods, yes.
I don't understand.
Well, there was just some folks, and there was this one named Orcus and this other one named Vecna, and I don't know, blah, blah, blah. They
Orcus.
were really mad at this
Oh, for-
nice bird lady.
Essentially,
wishes.
Orcus and Vecna. They got it into their heads that they wanted to work together. Work together, take over the Raven Queen.
These names that you're throwing around so casually,
Do you know them?
Who are they?
I've seen.
Right, you
I've
look
seen
very
them.
pale, even for you.
Yes,
Something wrong.
Orcus,
Yes.
demon prince of the
Has
undead.
horns.
Yeah, he was awful.
Possibly a thing for the Raven Queen that's still up for debate.
Yeah, he was a little bit of an issue.
The
Mhm.
This is a lot to take in.
You're telling me try to take all of us
Talk about-
into, I don't know, some other portal to another world, or you rip us apart in various ways. Wasn't
Yeah,
able
try
to.
fighting him though. Like that was wild.
Nahara, give me a wisdom save.
Sure. Let me remember what my bonus to that is. Okay. Just a regular wisdom save.
Regular wisdom save.
All right, 17.
Uriah. Finn, give me a perception check.
$19.
Finn, you notice as everyone is sort of talking, exchanging their account of this truly fantastic thing in a day of fantastic things, Nahara's face has gone completely blank. She looks like she looks when she sleeps at night, when she's just staring at nothing in particular. While everybody else is interacting, it's just, Nahara's gone.
I go over to Nahara and gently shake her shoulder.
She just sort of shakes. Nothing happens.
Okay. I will walk her over to a tree stump and see if I can get her to sit and just sit with her.
Her body does sort of move, not particularly gracefully, and it does just slide down the tree. Again, just kind of looking at nothing in particular.
I try to get Uriah's attention.
Well, I mean, I've certainly heard those names, but only in the most forbidden texts.
Right.
What? Yes? Finn? Nahara? What's wrong? What's happened?
She's gone. She's off somewhere.
Wait, that sounds really bad when you say it like that.
Oh, I'll examine her medicine roll, I suppose.
Absolutely. Give me medicine.
It's an 18 plus whatever I've got a fairly good bonus in that as well. Plus 9, 27.
She seems fine. Well, fine. She's always half dead, but there's no sign of her being harmed in any way or even under the effects of any sort of incantation. If it were a normal person, it almost would have been like they fell asleep on their feet, but it's like she fell asleep. You all were talking, she's there, she's interacting, and she just wasn't there.
I should gently try to rouse her then?
What would you like to say to try and wake her up?
Nahara, are you all right? It's me, Uriah. Can you hear me?
What am I doing here?
You just
By
sort
this
of...
tree.
Fen brought you over here. You just sort of drifted off. I mean, I know you don't actually sleep, but...
How long was I gone?
I'm not sure what the intersection of necromancy and narcolepsy is, but you may have found it. I'm not sure if someone who is undead can suffer from that condition, but...
Yes,
it
but
was only
how long have I been here?
No, just a minute, less.
No, that can't be right. No, that
You
can't be
walked here
right.
with us.
I do remember that.
And then...
But then
what,
I
you-
was elsewhere
Well,
with some other people that I've never met before.
it does seem to be a day for that. What happened to you?
We found ourselves in sort of a cave, and there were these 3 doors. We had to choose which door. And then we were summoned to a table, taken on a quest, but then there was a wager to see who would be the winner of this outcome. But in the end, it was a creature, these gods, Bahamut and Tiamat, and I made a bargain
Oh, well, this is...
with Asmodeus.
Well, this is quite a day for name dropping. Oh, did you... Maybe don't say that name again, but... This is remarkable. I can assure you that physically, at least, you were here with us the entire time.
No, that can't be right. No, that can't be right. I was gone for at least a day.
Fen picks up the random cat and pets it.
It's true.
Nice.
The spirit cat. It is
I
never
was like,
far
who's
away.
going to do it? How do we
Yes.
incorporate?
Spirit cat.
Yes.
You could say it's the Commandant.
It's true.
Somehow I found this cat.
I was like, it's Hemlock. It's Voronica. Exactly.
Hemlock's got a sweet little meow.
It's true. That would be the best, by the way.
Big
Hemlock.
cat, little meow. So basically, like my own cat. Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet baby meow. Yeah.
I couldn't have been. At least a day. At least a day I was gone.
As I say, physically, you were here.
What does it mean?
I'm not sure, but that string of names you just mentioned, in addition to the ones that Tatiana and Desmond... I suspect we are at the confluence of some very powerful forces. Not that we weren't before.
I don't understand.
I think it's coincidence. I think that Desmond and I were kind of wrong place, wrong time, wrong woods. I don't think it's us.
With beings such as the ones you've mentioned, very little is left to chance. I don't think there are any coincidences when one's operating on that level.
Okay, but even when the pink elephant shows up, like one that flies?
Pink elephants?
Well, I didn't get any
Oh.
cool weapons. Oh, that's...
I'd lend you
got
mine,
the-
but it kind of feels like it's an air genasi, a wind vein. It's
Oh, no,
kind
no,
of
no. I wouldn't
Okay,
dare.
yeah, I don't want it to be weird,
Let us
No,
not look
but like
a
I
gift.
would.
Let us not look a gift horse in the mouth. I mean, Desmond, Tatiana, you've returned with what seem to be very, very useful tools in our current struggle. Yes? And, I mean, I hesitate to say that we cannot trust our mutual friend over here, but things might be looking up.
I think she's on a trial basis, it's safe to say.
That's probably
Is that
safe.
okay with you, Nika?
Perfectly understandable. Quite frankly, I'm keeping you in my crosshairs, if you will. Myself, just to be sure, no funny business.
But Nahara, you said that there was some sort of game or wager or...
Amongst the now what I know to be gods, yes. Although I was so much stronger then. Much stronger than I am now.
Desmond and Tatiana,
remarkable.
you both realize you were both much stronger too and look different also. Nahara, at least you look the same. Desmond and Tatiana, you recall being completely different.
My muscles were bulkier than ever before, and yet I was faster. Incredible. I'll get back to it. I'll work harder.
Do you
Yes.
think it's something that will come to pass? Or something that's already occurred?
Both, because if you saw my muscles, like, I'm gonna get there. I have goals now.
Nika, give me Arcana, if you would.
Sure. Oh, well, that's going to be a 40.
Oh, okay. You know,
Just saying.
those
Casual
dark,
Wait,
those,
I'm
those
sorry.
Dark Lords,
What?
those Dark Lord stat blocks, you know.
I
She
don't
got a
think
crit and she has a plus 20 arcana, so that's not working.
That is actually perfect, especially with a natural 20.
Okay.
Nika, you
Yeah.
now, especially in your current state, know that linear time is an illusion. It's a lie. Yesterday, tomorrow are all just the limitations of mortals not being able to see the full scale of time and space. So for them, it all happens at once. To them, it feels linear. Oh, I was stronger, therefore time must have passed, but I lost that strength. I must have come back. Not really. Things just happen and have their ripples out through reality.
You know a lake? Think of a lake.
one time I jumped in a lake and all my curses came off.
Before you jump into a lake, think of the
That
lake
did
when
happen.
it is
That is a
early morning.
true
Yes, I know.
story.
I was there for it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, of course.
Crystal smooth. And then it starts to rain. And you get all these various water droplets starting to hit the lake. And all these different ripples and circles feeding into each other, intersecting, interacting, some passing through, some stopping. Time is a lake. It is not a single direction.
I get it.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Yes.
no one ever said it like that. Why didn't anyone ever say it like that?
This makes sense. Just that would actually explain a lot.
I have a friend who perceives time in a similar fashion.
It's because that's what time is.
Yes.
For some, you need to see it in one direction, one focus. Others can be completely immersed in this lake and see it all. And it causes no problems.
None of that explains why all of you seem to have the aura of Ezra about you.
About that.
Perhaps she, too, had a role in your adventures. Perhaps she's how you found your way back here, to all of us.
I know we had assistance from what they call the Raven Queen.
That name again.
About that toe, whose toe was it?
Well, the current prevailing theory is that it may be an actual piece of the corpus of Aslan Rex himself.
You don't happen to have that with you, do you?
He could show you one that looks just like it.
Yeah, my own toe is somewhat similar in appearance to that. Well,
Can we do
we'll
this
certainly-
without severing toes?
And breaking terms of service? I mean, what?
we're certainly glad to have all of you back. We should return to the wagon. Valentine will be happy to see you, Voronica.
Where is Valentine, by the way? I was going to ask, but there wasn't a good time to ask.
As you head back towards the wagon, important point of clarification, Brother Uriah. Do you show Voronica the toe?
I do not.
Now the toe shower, eh?
Gotta pay extra for that. Does
The toe grower, not a toe shower.
Thank you, that was disgusting. Does
Sorry.
How fitting that B. Dave is having issues talking, so he's spreading it to the rest of us. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Apparently, it's now a computer virus that is transmitted back.
All of our monitors are glitching somehow for right now.
Voronica, when Uriah does not show it to you, do you attempt to find it? Even by just looking at him?
Oh, she'll, do an up and down just to see if there's anything that would hint to it.
I'm going to say it's a powerful enough relic that you're aware that it is on his person. You're also aware that you could use it. You're 100% sure you could use it to find Aslan. You also might be able to use it to affect Aslan, as it is a part of him. That you're not sure. You'd have to test it. But you definitely could track him down if you had it, even if you just had access to it.
You sure you don't have that, though?
I've got all of mine.
Not your toes. Well, if you come across it again and it suddenly pokes out, it might be of some use if you're looking for him. But I might need to actually be able to interact with it.
Good to know. I wonder, your crown. Does it have any connection to Ezra herself?
No, it's connected to the Raven Queen. It's been in my family for generations.
Interesting. Actually, Uriah will try an insight roll.
Go ahead and roll it.
That is 13 plus 13, 26.
You detect no deception. She said it's connected to the Raven Queen, has been in her family for generations. As far as you can tell, she is not lying about that.
Fun little fact, my name means Little Raven.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
That tracks.
Question.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh,
No, please.
where was as far as we know, Valentine is back with Ismark and Arena, yes?
As far as you know, yep.
Very well. So Uriah is confidently, right this way, Tatiana. She was, I think she was, well, not sleeping, but you know the things she does.
Yes, the thing with the eyes, then they're open and she stares, but she's not there.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Voronica, as you all are making your way back here. Voronica, give me an insight check.
Okay, 35.
There's something Desmond's not telling you. I mean, all of you are drowning in the things you're not saying. And you're used to a certain chilly reception from him as of late. But there's something he's not telling you.
So what is it?
What?
Whatever it is that you are mulling over. Keeping to yourself.
There's a museum full of things that I'm mulling over keeping to myself, but the thing that bugs me most now is when we fought the color. I experienced what could only be described as a day in the life as king of Kashmar.
And you probably hated it.
Of course, I hated it. And the thing that is odd about it all is that the only joy of it was from you. And I'm having trouble parsing that. Surely you can understand that.
Yes, well. I can relate.
You can relate to having trouble parsing that? Interesting. But how is the Dark Lord life? Since we have a moment. Is it everything it was cracked up to be?
It's everything I wanted and never knew I'd have to take on.
Everything and more. Duly noted. Was it worth it?
That's still up for debate.
That actually makes me feel a little better about taking the basket. And then with that, he just takes another bite of the bread.
It's your favorite recipe. It's the ones we used to steal when we were children.
I remember.
So do I.
I can tell.
As you all make it back to the wagon, as you emerge from the tree line, Ismark knocks an arrow in your direction as he's standing vigilant, but then just slowly nods. You notice Valentine is sitting in her familiar position of sleeping, but Arena has nuzzled up next to her and thrown a blanket over them both and has her head on Valentine's shoulders, sleeping as well. You know from experience, Valentine can hear you. She can always hear you. But if she's off in the trance, it will be a few hours before she comes back.
If only there were some way to capture a moment.
Yes,
So you could look at it later.
someone could
like a
draw it or
painting.
something. Yeah,
Oh.
painting, yes.
I'm not very good at drawing, but I'll try. Anyone have any scrap of parchment?
Oh, yes, I'm sure I do. Here we are. And some charcoal you could try with that.
You just had this whole time?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
I've
I've
got
never
a crossbow
tried
that
to-
I've been carrying for months and I've never used.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I don't want to say anything. I didn't know if it was real or like a toy.
It's rude to draw on people's faces while they're sleeping.
Oh, no.
No.
I
I'm
think
drawing
she
the
wants to-
faces.
Oh, I see. Right then.
Dungeon
must.
Master, I don't think this will be very good because Tatiana's never drawn before. But I'm going to try. Can I roll?
I like where this is headed. Yes. Let me see. You can either give me, again, I got too many versions of this game in my head. I was about to call for a skill that no longer exists. You can give me performance or sleight of hand, whichever is higher for Tatiana.
Oh, we're going with higher? Okay, well, performance.
I mean, if you want to roll lower, you can.
I don't like what the dice just did. They're lucky today. They're wrong. It's a 1.
No, wait.
It's an 18.
You know, okay, but this is a Tatiana 18, though.
Yeah.
You know, so what ultimately, how does Tatiana capture it? Because what that 18 means is you did the best job you could do. So in terms of what Tatiana set out to accomplish, what kind of picture of Valentine in arena, cuddled up sleeping, did she draw?
Okay, not to make it weird or anything, but yes, I'm drawing my friend sleeping. It was cute.
Cute.
But I think that Valentine already has long flowing red hair. It's even longer and even flowier. And I just start like drawing swirls that take over everything. And then like you can see the entire earth below her. And it looks puny and weak because the earth has muscles now and they're tiny. And Irina is like a little angel draping a gauze of what does God brain like? Of just like pink ooze over her.
Yep.
Gross.
Yep.
Yeah. Perfect.
Like the god brain likes brains. Yeah, it's shockingly beautiful what Tatiana creates, actually.
I look like I'm in the sleeping trance as I'm doing it. I don't know how that happened.
Question, Dungeon Master. Do we have an idea of how far away from our destination we are? Like, would we reach it within a day?
You don't. Ismark might, because remember, he thought you could get to Valaki before sundown if you'd left early. So it wasn't that you were terribly far away. Even when you wanted to deviate to Argynvostholt, it seemed possible. It just would have been a stretch. The problem now, though, is the wagon is absolutely ruined.
Oh.
Do I think a mending spell would be of any use on this wagon?
I mean, 40 mending spells might. It may be possible to incrementally try and patch it back up. Yeah. Well, the caller punched a hole through it, and then her headless, tight, gargantuan body collapsed on top of it. So it's busted pretty finely.
But the horses are still alive.
The horses, by the grace of Ezra, seem to have survived completely intact.
No animals were harmed during the making of this
No
legend.
animals were harmed in the making. I mean, not the making of that action sequence, at least.
Are the horses strong enough to carry such a weight as that of the skull that we've...
Yes, the skull's only 200 pounds. The skull's the size of basically another person. The skull is still intact.
So if we were to put the skull on one of the horses, and then we could even like spell the horse every now and then, just switch it to between one horse and the other.
It basically would be like carrying a rider.
How long does...
Are you saying this out loud?
Well, I'm asking Ismark. How long do you think with
We're all
the skull on?
brainstorming.
Yeah, Voronica, you definitely...
You need the wagon fixed. Is that the problem?
Oh yes. If you could.
Of course. And she'll just put her hand against the wagon and kind of like raise an eyebrow. And as she touches the wagon, you see roots that are in the soil sort of creep their way up and out and around the wagon itself. And it sort of encases it in this webbing of roots. And then when the roots sort of fade into the wood, you see that everything's been mended.
Oh,
Can you
That's
teach
better.
me that?
very, very, very nice.
That might take some situations.
I'm gonna I'll flip over the parchment and on the other side drop Voronica on a carriage.
Does the carriage look any different? Before, it was a gravedigger's wagon that just kind of had a thin tarp over the top for some modesty. It was not in any way ostentatious before. Does it look any different now that it has been restored by your power?
It has a darker tone to the wood, and there is this very thick scattering of moss that is so dark green it almost looks black.
Miraculously, the what you see Ismark just looks at that and looks at her and looks at that and looks at you all and then just doesn't say a word, just turns and looks back towards the forest with the bow and arrow. It's just waiting for something.
Ismark, question.
Yeah.
Now that we seem to have a wagon again, how long would you say it will take us to reach our destination of Argynvostholt?
You're absolutely sure we cannot go to Valaki. I could get my sister to safety. We will have friends there. We've just gone from trial to trial to torment, and you want to go to the cursed hold of Argynvostholt.
I say the longer we delay in delivering this skull, the more chance that we could lose it.
Or have people fight us for it.
Mm-hmm.
He just sort of looks to the left and the right and says, you know, I don't mean to overstep, but I feel like my sister and I have done our part on this journey so far. He wanted that skull back so badly, and he wanted the book. What is in that book?
Good question.
Well, we're not sure at this stage.
But it's ours now.
We can go. I think it is probably worth risking traveling at night because we will be no more exposed than we are right here. I will do my best to remain vigilant.
You should be very careful with your sister.
But his eyes narrow, and he's like, well, I mean, I'm always careful with my sister, but what, did you see, did something happen? I mean, I saw when she collapsed in the battle with that horror, but she seemed fine when you tended to her, Uriah.
I suspect that her physical wounds were easy enough to mend. But the trauma she experienced, it's not so easy to leave behind.
You see...
I think, due to what's happened to her in your encounters with the lord of this land, that it will be easier for him to find her.
You both see he looks very stressed out all of a sudden. Beyond the obvious. He already knows Strahd's on her tail. There's something he's not telling you. He kind of just runs his fingers through his hair and just stands there looking at the ground.
If your primary concern is your sister, where we go now, we go to hopefully raise allies against the Count.
Brother Uriah, I'm not a religious man. There's been very little in my life that would give me any cause for faith. With the glowing exception of that old church there. Strahd can't enter it. Something the gods sometimes on occasion look down and smile upon us. Could I confess something to you, ask for a blessing? I don't know how these things work, but you called upon Ezra and she answered. I saw it with my own eyes. And there's something that burdens me so greatly that I can carry it no further.
I'm but a vessel for Ezra's grace, but of course I will hear your confession.
In the battle with the caller, she showed me something. It was the night he came for my sister. And I saw him embrace her and bare his fangs. And I drew my bow and I fired. And my aim was true. I placed 2 in his heart. It would have killed any man. It would have killed any man who ever lived.
He is no man, nor does he live.
He just laughed. Uriah, he laughed at me. I couldn't stop him. I tried. I couldn't stop him.
You mustn't blame yourself. You were a mortal man facing him with ordinary weapons. But now, as you see here, my friends, They have brought back enchanted weapons, which might give us a chance.
Yes. 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 I have to believe.
And moreover, the skull which we bear, it might raise an army against Strahd. Not an army of men, but an army of those with the power to do him harm.
Yes. With what strength that remains, I will see you there. I will see this done. And he hops up on the front of the wagon. And he's like,
But
yes.
before we go, just a few minutes, something that will fortify us through the night, something I've recently gained access to, and something that I'm very sure that Tatiana and Desmond in particular will appreciate. Before we leave, Uriah would like to spend a few minutes casting Hero's Feast. And that will fortify us for the journey and also give us a number of tasty buffs.
Wait, did you know? I did this. When Vecna and Orcus were there, I had this power. But it's gone now. I tried and I couldn't make it happen.
I have only recently had the magic spring to my mind. So if I may, I would like to invite you all to a rather sumptuous feast. I think it best to duplicate a feast from my youth, one prepared by old Broadfoot himself.
Oh, yeah.
What are the contents, at least some of the contents of Uriah's Hero's Feast?
Well, I'm saying, considering that Hero's Feast is a, I believe, 6th level spell. Yep, that's a 6th level spell. So this is going to be the full-on old Broadfoot halfling barbecue. So, of course, brisket and pulled pork, but also 2 varieties of ribs, the dry rib and then, of course, the wet, succulent, saucy rib. You're going to have chicken and sausage and all the meats, but also all the sides. So there's going to be, a coleslaw, probably a vinegar-based coleslaw. There's going to be beans, baked beans. There's going to be Brussels sprouts roasted in honey, and a sort of a pasta dish with fat noodles in a sauce. The halfling name for it in the halfling language is mac and cheese. So
Ooh.
Yeah, all of these things,
Exotic.
including slices of white bread that can alternatively be used as napkins just to get all the grease off you.
Important point of clarification. In Darkon, there's not a number of high holy days as such. We've discussed the one day of the year where the elites come out invisible and quite frankly do whatever manner of terrible thing they wish to an unsuspecting populace. Mm-hmm. There's not really
purge, basically. It's purge.
There's not really an Independence Day. There is no independence in Darkon. So what sort of things would be a special occasion warranting such a banquet that Uriah would have remembered?
Well, we do know that in Darkon they do have the darkest night, which is the longest day of the year, the shortest day of the year, longest night on the winter solstice, where everyone just cowers in their homes. So yeah, I'd say this is from the summer solstice holiday, and particularly that one that Uriah remembers from his childhood. Rivalus is sort of like probably the most bucolic and calm part of Darkon. So on the summer solstice, there are big feasts and picnics, and the halflings in particular put their barbecue skills to use.
Uriah, as your friends dig into this sumptuous banquet, and you have this wonderful flashback to one of the truly objectively good moments that you can hold on to in the darkness, a terrible thought starts to creep in of what the caller said to you was going to happen to Darkon. She told you fate was leading you. Those tears in the sky over Castle Avernus. You can't help but think of seeing them over Rivalus. Of just reality itself unraveling in the mist rolling in and just consuming and decimating everyone and everything.
And she said that I could stop it.
And you do know, as terrible as she was, one thing Rose was not was a liar. And that is a good place for us to take a little break. And do a quick 10. Don't go nowheres, and we'll be right back. Hello. Normally, this is where I read off the numbers of the patrons, or the names of the patrons, but I'm having to conserve my words today, so I'm not going to do it today, but thank you so very much. We know who each and every one of you are, and we love and appreciate you so very much. Patreon.com/The Black Dice Society. If you haven't taken a look, that's where we do our exclusive after show. I don't think we're going to do an after show today because I'm going to immediately crawl into bed as soon as we're done here. But we have after shows after every episode. We also have bonus content, side adventures, where every single one of them have had solo adventures where you get to find out a little more about their characters and their existence in the super happy fun world that is Ravenloft. Also, as an aside, we put this in chat, but if you didn't notice, both Tatiana and Desmond were in Idle Champions Presents Court of the Raven Queen, which was a high-level adventure, GM by me. It is up on YouTube. And Nahara was in a charity game for the Wava Rape Crisis Center, also DM'd by me. And it gets wibbly-wobbly trying to put these things into where they happened in their lives. But that's what we were talking about. So both things really great up on YouTube. Take a look if you like. Also, a wild Voronica did appear in Court of the Raven Queen. So yeah, that's what those particular allusions were about. And with that, let us continue with our story. As the cart is making its way across Barovia, in the direction of Argynvostholt, the cursed, very haunted ruins of the silver dragon Argynvost, who was defeated by Strahd on that very land, and his armies have roamed as revenants ever since. Revenants usually, as undead, don't last very long. They are committed to doing one thing, but they kind of burn out and just die. So the fact that these revenants have lasted for centuries is already anomalous. But as you're making your way across the countryside, Desmond, you, more than almost anyone, know the weight of what Finn has taken on in what it is going to cost. And you realize your friend's been kind of quiet since you got back.
And is everything okay?
No.
I mean, obviously not really okay. It's probably the worst choice of words I could have chosen, but can I help?
I don't know. I mean, it is what it is, and I knew what choice I was making. Tell me, what did she torment you with in detail?
I was going to ask you the same thing. It
Well.
was it was me on the throne of Kashmar.
That's the last thing you ever wanted.
Exactly why I imagine she tormented me with it. It was interesting, to say the least. I was lucky that I had someone bringing me flagons of mead, which, if I'm going to do the politic thing, I need the mead. So it was perfect in that aspect. But the good thing about it was that Voronica was there, right by my side. And I felt on multiple occasions, like, she's kind of leaned in, it's like, you might want to lay off the mead. Doing a little too much. It's your first day on the job. And I think that's what made it worse. It was my first day. Armand was there, as Armand is ever. And it was nonsense. And I was going to ask you what she tormented you with, because while that would be the worst thing for me, I imagine that'd be laughed at by everyone else.
No, not anyone who knows you.
Fair. But still. What did she torment you with?
The day that I killed Marius and had to leave home, the day that my Dhampir abilities manifested. Yeah.
That had to be tough.
Yeah, but when I realized it was her playing tricks, everything changed. I knew it was a memory. She promised to try to kill me first. Let me see who's still here.
Yeah.
But I've paid a high price. I don't even know if the carnival will be there if we go back. Or will it try to come to Nepenthe?
That is a great question. Series of questions, even, because I'm not even remotely sure. What I do know is that regardless of how it works, whether or not it comes to us or it's not there, I'll be here with you. I know that may not be much, but I understand you're going through a lot. I understand that you needed to get that done.
Yeah. But I've sacrificed a lot for that.
Sure.
And the person I did it for may never speak to me again.
I'm hoping that's not the case.
We'll see. I don't know what happened once Nepenthe got what it wanted. Because it wasn't about his soul for the sword, it was about what it wanted. And I knew that. I knew the deal I made with the devil. Or what he'll want now that I've done his bidding.
You all notice that since the caller was slain, Nepenthe hasn't said anything. The red glow subsided. You just got a sense of supreme satisfaction, and has been silence afterwards.
I'm gonna hold Nepenthe and just show it to Desmond.
Do you unsheath the blade?
The tiniest fraction.
As you pull it out slightly, you see that distortion around it, where Barovia itself doesn't like the presence of Nepenthe. And the blade glows like a hot iron that has been laying in a fire. But it doesn't radiate its glow outwards. And you hear Nepenthe's voice in your head. I upheld my end of the bargain, Finn.
You did. The caller's dead, and I know what you asked, and you'll get what you've asked from me.
Good. When the time comes, I will bathe in von Zarovich's blood as well. He's guilty.
Oh, he is. I won't stop you.
Finn, give me an insight check.
Oh, goody. All right. The one thing I don't have advantage on. But it is a 23.
You can't put your finger on it. But Nepenthe wants more from Strahd than revenge. Don't get me wrong, justice and revenge. Justice is always what motivates Nepenthe. All the people that Isolde has killed with it deserved it. But there's something else. There's another layer of why it wants you to use it on Strahd, but you don't quite know what it is.
Quick out of character. With that inside check, if I asked, would Nepenthe answer?
I would say Nepenthe is a pretty big jerk. So.
Okay. Okay. And I'm just gonna tap the hilt, and as I slowly close it, sheathe it. I know you want more than you're telling me, but that's between you and whatever you believe in.
Just make sure your sword arm remains strong. I will handle the rest.
As you wish, because he was not happy to see you in his lands.
I'm not happy to be in them. But we must do what we must do.
True, if I didn't bring you on this lovely vacation, you couldn't have gotten the collar.
If you had not brought me, you could not have gotten the collar.
Oh, semantics, fine, whatever. You've gotten your vengeance on the collar.
The collar was guilty. Von Zarovich is guilty.
Noted. When the time comes, I'll be sure to pull you and not my regular sword.
Good.
So, this is all in my head. I'm not actually talking out loud.
Nepenthe is speaking purely telepathically. Desmond, you would know as her eyes kind of fall on the blade. You've touched Nepenthe. You've heard it speak to you. You know what's happening, even though you do not hear the conversation.
Desmond had a feeling the second she touched the blade. And the second she touched it and unsheathed it just slightly, he knew what was up. He doesn't want to interrupt her, though, because he'd rather ask when she's finished.
I set Nepenthe down and rub a hand over my face and just kind of glance up at Desmond.
Tough conversation, I take it.
Yeah. Nepenthe wants more than the collar.
That seems to be a common theme.
Well, I've upheld my end of the bargain in taking out the collar. We'll have to see what the good Count offers me in recompense.
That's a interesting turn of events.
I'm sure it'll be a higher price than I want to pay.
Isn't it always?
Yeah. What about you? Seeing her again couldn't have been easy.
It's different. After the time seeing what life would have been as king, it was a nice reprieve. And then coming back, it's just still hurts. But also she's being helpful, so I don't know. I'm at a loss. And he just digs in his pocket and pulls out a piece of the bread. And he digs in the bag again and pulls out a piece of the brisket that he's been practicing with. And just kind of like wraps the brisket in the bread. And just like a snacking, you want to try some?
Sure, might as well. I mean, I did get pretty beat up. And then that's when Fen realizes how close she came to totally getting taken out. And just kind of like, I think I should maybe lay down after I eat this.
Laying down's not a bad idea. I did a little bit of that myself.
As you all are making your way along, you do intermittently get the benefits of a long rest. But as you are riding along, Voronica, you see Uriah is sort of tossing and turning, clearly having a disturbing dream. Uriah, you're seeing it again. Avernus, Darkon, the unraveling, until you snap awake to see your other companions sleeping, Nahara and Valentine sleeping, but Voronica looking right at you as you wake up.
Oh, I'm quite used to being loomed over in my sleep, but I suppose this is the first time it's been you.
First of all, I don't loom. Secondly, dreams are sort of a thing of mine. It's not the sleep of one who is satisfied with a job just done. That is one haunted by something.
It's something the caller told me, and I don't think she was lying.
And what is it the caller told you to trouble you so?
Darkon. As someone of your, shall we say, status, I'm sure you're aware of the ties between a domain and its ruler.
Very familiar, yes, and I know that the one who is supposed to be tied to Darkon has somehow managed to shake that obligation away.
Yes. Much as you find yourself here, but I suspect his case and yours are different. He's been imprisoned here for centuries, perhaps millennia. And now he's found a way to slip his bonds, but while he's managed to escape his cell, he hasn't quite left the prison, if you see what I mean. You've had dealings with him. You know what his goal is.
I do.
The thing is, Darkon itself, if he's no longer there, then whatever powers control this place
Needs a seat filled.
Yes. Or perhaps they have no further use for Darkon, and if that seat remains unfilled, then what then? There are good people there.
And
Not
what
just
does
the
this
ones
have to do with... Please, go ahead.
Well, not just the ones I know myself, but Darkon is a vast realm. And I know there are many wicked folk within it, but there are good people as well.
You have the weight of this world on your shoulders. Why?
Because she said I could stop it.
Did she say how?
No, she wasn't particularly specific when it came to how, but I can only assume she means all of us, our group. And if you are in earnest, and I hesitate to place too much faith in that, considering how things worked out last time, I have not known you very long or very well, but I do know that Tatiana and Valentine and Desmond, they love you very much. And if they are willing to trust you again, then your help might be invaluable.
I can tell you this. It's in my interest as well to deal with Aslan. Much of my current situation has to do with him and Strahd and their manipulations. You, at one point, when I became what I am now, faded back, and he came through. Why?
Why did I fade back?
And why was Azalin using you as a mouthpiece, so to speak?
Only he knows. It's wheels within wheels with him. I've barely glimpsed his mind, but sometimes when he manifests, I get an inkling of what he's up to.
Do you want to save Darkon?
Yes.
And you want that sole responsibility?
I certainly do not want it. But I will take it up if I must.
I can respect that, wanting to do what you can for your land. What about this book you've talked about? Does that have anything to do with what's going on?
Must. The Count wants it back desperately.
No.
Strahd wants the book.
You both see Nahara's eyes flitter open at the mention of the book.
Nahara,
Yes. Yes?
Voronica was asking about the tome that we took from the Count's castle. The one you took when you really were quite magnificent. You just stuck it to him. But
Thank you. I was
I'm not
waiting
sure.
for the right moment as we got a little bit distracted with the caller and such.
Yes.
Where did I put that?
The book itself, I will show you, probably much clumsier than I intend. It is a fairly simple leather book with a metal clasp and the symbol of House von Zarovich on the cover. There it is. The book is the DM now. And yes, Nahara, you find it in your bag where you'd left it, completely safe and intact.
Well, after carefully inspecting the book on all sides and seeing that it has a latch, I do carefully open it.
It's difficult to make out because you see many of the pages are worn and faded. It is an ancient work penned by Strahd himself. The book is bound in a thick leather cover with steel hinges and fastenings. The pages are of parchment and very brittle. Most of the book is written in a curious shorthand that only Strahd employs, and stains and age have made most of the work illegible, but several paragraphs remain intact and readable.
Well, I would very much like to read them.
Here is what it says that I will send you.
All right. Oh, goodness.
It is a long passage, but an important one.
Right. This is what it says. I am the ancient, I am the land. My beginnings are lost in the darkness of the past. I was the warrior. I was good and just. I thundered across the land like the wrath of a just God, but the war years and the killing years wore down on my soul as the wind wears stone into sand. All goodness slipped from my life. I found my youth and strength gone, and all I had left was death. My army settled in the valley of Barovia and took power over the people in the name of a just God, but with none of a God's grace or justice. I called for my family, long unseated from their ancient thrones, and brought them here to settle in the castle Ravenloft. They came with a younger brother of mine, Sergei. He was handsome and youthful. I hated him for both. From the families of the valley, one spirit shone above all others, a rare beauty who was called perfection, joy, and treasure. Her name was Tatiana, and I longed for her to be mine. I loved her with all my heart. I loved her for her youth. I loved her for her joy, but she spurned me. Old One was my name to her, elder and brother also. Her heart went to Sergei. They were betrothed. The date was set. With words she called me brother, but when I looked into her eyes, they reflected another name, death. It was the death of the age that she saw in me. She loved her youth and enjoyed it, but I had squandered mine. The death she saw in me turned her from me, and so I came to hate death. My death. My hate is very strong. I could not be called death so soon. I made a pact with death, a pact of blood. On the day of the wedding, I killed Sergei, my brother. My pact was sealed with his blood. I found Tatiana weeping in the garden east of the chapel. She fled from me. She would not let me explain and had a great anger swelled within me. She had to understand the pact I made for her. I pursued her. Finally, in despair, she flung herself from the walls of Ravenloft, and I watched everything I ever wanted fall from my grasp forever. It was 1,000 feet through the mist. No trace of her was ever found. Not even I know her final fate. Arrows from the castle gods pierced me to my soul, but I did not die, nor did I live. I became undead forever. I have studied much since then. Vampire is my new name. I still lust for life and youth, and I curse the living and took them from me. Even the sun is against me. It is the sun and its light I fear the most, but little else can harm me now. Even a stake through my heart does not kill me, though it holds me from the movement. But the sword, that cursed sword that Sergei brought, I must dispose of that awful tool. I fear and hate it as much as the sun. I have often hunted for Tatiana. I have even felt her within my grasp, but she escapes. She taunts me. What will it take to bend her to love me? I now reside far below Ravenloft. I live amongst the dead and sleep beneath the very stones of the hollow castle of despair. I shall seal shut the walls of the stairs that none may disturb me. That's all it says.
Nahara.
Are you all right?
You read the words of another man. Yet these emotions.
It's for Sergei. Oh, I'm sorry. I am Tatiana. It's me who he speaks of, and it's Sergei who he had slain, that I was to wed.
So you were the one he thought I was.
Yes.
This makes sense.
Blade. Sergei's blade.
Yes.
That is the blade we seek to retrieve from Argynvostholt. Oh, it must be.
It must
A blade that he fears, like he fears the sun. Yes.
It must
Nahara,
be it.
that must have been so difficult for you. I am sorry.
I spent so long just wondering about my life into... It is like a wound being ripped open again. But I'll be all right.
There are clues in this, I think. We know where he sleeps now during the day. And we know that the stairs are sealed.
Yes.
And we know that getting that sword is more vitally important than ever. All we had before were rumors and conjecture, but now we have the Count's own words.
Now we know.
Maybe something I can do. For you, Nahara. For all you've gone through. For everything he's put you through.
What's that?
I still have some recollections from Smilna. One of great power and know-how. One who has taken on many forms herself. Perhaps, we may find a way to break this connection. Give you a chance to actually be yourself. And not a wandering target throughout the ripples of time, so to speak.
And are you going to put a price on that like everyone else has?
I may have a price, but I will be upfront about it. Unlike the others.
I'm listening.
Give me time. For both of you.
Very well.
I make no promises. But you are each intriguing. Gather even more so. And right now, our goals are very similar.
Unless anyone has anything else to say on the ride, you all arrive before the break of day. Somehow, perhaps still miraculously under Ezra's watch, Uriah, you are unimpeded along the roads and pathways across the north of Barovia through these twisting woods. And high above the river valley juts a quiet promontory upon which looms a sepulchral mansion, its turrets capped with fairy tale cones, its towers lined with sculpted battlements. A third of the structures has collapsed, as has part of the roof, but the rest appears intact. A dark, octagonal tower rises above the surrounding architecture. Out of the fog comes a distant peal of thunder, quickly accompanied by the howling of wolves in the woods below. But the house stands silent, seeming like the fossilized remains of some long-dead thing smote upon the mountainside.
Question. Were we, sleeping in shifts and whatnot, able to get the equivalent of long rest?
Everybody got a long rest, yes.
Lovely. Oh, and I also should tell everyone, everyone roll 2d10, and you will gain, your hit point maximum from the Hero's Feast actually goes up by that amount. It's not temporary hit points, you actually have more hit points right now.
Oh,
So
it's-
that's, that's 2 to 20 extra hit points.
Just for the sake of ease, do put it as temporary hit points because it'll wear off in 24 hours. But yes, it physically makes you stronger.
Also, everyone...
The healing power of barbecue.
Exactly. Yes, the sauce. It's the sauce. Anyone who was affected by a poison or a disease, that's gone. You are also immune to poison and to being frightened for the next 24 hours. You'll also be making all wisdom saving throws with advantage.
Old Broadfoot really knew what to put in that sauce, huh?
Well, I mean, my own cooking skills pale in comparison to Desmond's, but with some magic and help from Ezra. I mean, there was that zombie nugget incident. That
Desmond was just gonna kind of lean in, just last time wasn't perfect though. Not at all.
No, it's true. It's true. But yes, so fortified. And I think Ezra had something to do with us getting here in one piece.
Uriah, even at this distance, you're aware this place is absolutely crawling with undead.
We should probably get the skull somewhere prominent where they can see it. I don't think we'll be able to take the wagon in. Tatiana, do you think you can manage to carry it?
Have you seen how? Yeah, I can.
Yes,
I can carry it.
I just didn't want to assume that you would be the one carrying it.
Well, that's a safe assumption, to be honest.
Yeah, I could not carry it. I could not.
I lift it.
As you all start making your way towards the castle, perched atop a 10-foot wide, 10-foot high cube of granite is a moss-covered statue of a dragon. Its wing tucks close to its body. The statue looks east towards the mansion. All of you can give me an Arcana check.
See, you chose not to do wisdom. Interesting.
You cannot be good at absolutely everything, Tatiana, just the overwhelming majority of things.
I am good.
Oh,
at
I'm in from
Arcana.
the advantage with that feast.
Right.
But yes, I'm also very good at it.
24 for me.
Nat 20 for me.
That's a 5. That's a 5 for Uriah.
That is an excellent dragon statue, Uriah. It is a very dragony statue.
I love dragons. I do. Dragons are great.
Nahara, you are aware that the statue was magical, but you feel like it doesn't work anymore, and like it used to be. Desmond, with that natural 20, you are aware that this was a trap. The nearby gate, which you can see from here, if you stepped on the wrong stone, that statue would have breathed a cone of cold as a defense mechanism. It is broken, but that's how it used to work. You definitely, through your own arcane mastery, as you see Nahara looking at it, you've set your fair share of snares, and you can kind of see, though, if the dragon's pointing it, that's what that was.
I'm just kind of nodded to everybody, you see this is originally a trap, right? It's not working, but...
Oh, yes, now that you say it, I can. Right. We should probably still take care. But
Yes.
But yes, well spotted.
You see flagstone steps flanked by stone railings climb to a landing in front of a pair of tall wooden doors with rusted iron bands and knockers shaped like small dragons. Carved into the lintel above the entrance is the word Argynvostholt.
Well, it seems we're in the right place. In any case.
Comforting at the very least.
Voronica, give me history or religion.
Okay. That's a 24.
When you were a little girl, your grandmother told you stories about a foolish and vain silver dragon who met his end, named Argynvostholt. But You don't necessarily know why your grandmother should have known anything about the mists. I mean, on occasion, people do come forwards and backs. Not everyone is trapped here forever. But it is an odd coincidence that she told you that. And here we are.
Apparently, my grandmother knew some stories. Silver dragon, full of himself.
I mean,
Curious.
Argynvost?
Yes.
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 He appeared to me in a dream, oddly enough. You did say dreams were your area of speciality?
Yes, there's nothing odd about dreams. They have a way of working with people. And what of this dream?
He said we must restore his skull. I assume the rest of him, what remained, what poor scraps, must have been buried by his followers.
Voronica, you also are aware. This place is absolutely crawling with undeath. There's nothing obvious to see here immediately, but you're not alone in this place.
If we're going to go crawling through this particular establishment, there are going to be interactions.
Yes, I'm hoping that perhaps if we prominently display the skull and perhaps that will spark something within these revenants. Perhaps they will allow us to pass. I know we can't count upon that, but actually, now that you mention it, I'm going to fully raise my eyes of the grave, and actually, so I'll basically know within 60 feet where any undead are. Like, I'll actually know their location.
Uriah, you realize it is almost like when you hold a torch in the darkness. The darkness is repelled, but there's almost thick walls of darkness at the edge of the firelight. You're aware in almost every room, on all sides, there's undead. But they're almost drawing away from you to a certain distance. If that makes sense. It is almost like they're moving away from you as you are moving forward.
It could be the skull itself. I suggest we proceed cautiously, but with any luck at all, we'll find that this wards them off, or at least that they'll respect it.
The room that you enter feels like a king's tomb. A grand staircase leads up to the stone balconies, head aloft by stone pillars and arches. A tall, faded tapestry depicting a nobleman in silver armor hangs from an iron rod above the staircase landing. Six sets of double doors lead from the foyer. Along the walls, displayed on marble pedestals, are 3 alabaster bursts of handsome men. A 4th burst in its pedestal has been knocked over, and their shattered remains lying strewn across the mosaic floor. 2 chandeliers wrought with iron hang from the ceiling like monstrous black spiders. And Uriah, as you are looking, all of you see a huge black winged shadow fly overhead along the ceiling in through one of those doors. Uriah, you having seen Argynvostholt's last stand and his defeat to Strahd, saw him in both his human and silver dragon form. The beautiful man in the tapestry is definitely him, and that shadow is roughly his size.
That's him, in the tapestry. That's Argynvost, at least when he appeared as a mortal man. And there, you all saw that, yes? I think he's guiding us.
Then follow.
Yes.
As you all move through here, it is clear to everybody that this was once spectacular. This would have been absolutely gorgeous at some point along the way, but now that the loss of that great beauty in many ways makes it even more tragic, seeing from what it was fall into what it is. And as you make your way through here, you open the door to one of these rooms and you see 4 men standing there. They're worn and decrepit, their armor in various states of disarray, holes punched in it, throats torn, eyes hollow and filled with rage. And they stand there with their weapons drawn and look at all of you.
Do we address the members of the Order of the Silver Dragon? Those who follow Argynvost?
They sort of look at you and kind of cock their heads. Uriah, give me persuasion with advantage.
Persuasion advantage. Okay. That is either going to be a 22 or a 20. 22, please.
They look at each other and they look at you, Uriah, and they look past you at Tatiana. Again, the dragon's skull is no small thing that she has hoisted over her head, muscles rippling here. And you see they look back at you, Uriah. Give me insight with advantage.
Okay, it's either a 17 or a 24.
You get the distinct impression they don't know if you're friend or foe. Undead is your specialty, Brother Uriah. This is what you do. You know a revenant when you see one, and you're able to pretty quickly assemble what I shared with you before. If they were just revenants, they should have been long at rest. And yet, here they are, still in service. But it's almost like it's not clear to them whether or not you're enemies.
We come on behalf of Argynvost himself, here to return his skull, so cruelly taken by the master of Barovia. Return it to rest, if we may.
And I don't do anything with it, but I do hold up the holy symbol of Ravenkind.
You see, they look at the holy symbol and their eyes kind of narrow, but they look back towards Uriah. And just one of them kind of drops its weapon with a loud clank and starts walking towards Tatiana. The other 3 don't move.
Everyone, do I put it down and fight? Because I can't really put it down slowly.
It's all right, I think. They served Argynvost. If they wish to lay him to rest, we must allow them to honor him, I think. Can I insight his intent on approaching Tatiana?
You can roll with advantage again. Again, not only do you know Argynvost, this is what you do.
Okay, so that is either...
Guidance.
Guidance.
I'm going to take it. Ooh, thank you. So that'll add how much?
D4.
D4.
Okay. So it was 29. 33.
Well, again, 30 is godlike success. You're certain it doesn't mean her any harm. It's revenants.
All right.
Revenants are not subtle. If it was intending violence, you'd know.
I could kick it really hard.
No,
but
don't
I
do
might
that.
be off balance.
No. I know it would feel good, but don't do that. He doesn't have ill intent.
Okay.
You see, as you're carrying it, Tatiana, it's sort of, because again, it is, I say it weighs 200 pounds, but it's the size of a dragon's head. It's no small thing. It comes over the side of one of the jaws and sort of shoulders it. And a moment later, another one of them kind of drops its weapon and comes over and sort of shoulders the other side of it. And you see all four of them end up taking up the sides of it, almost like pallbearers around you, with you still holding it in the middle, Tatiana.
Where are we going, fellas?
And they start walking right when you say that. It is this plodding shamble, but you notice it's almost like they start to straighten up slightly and regain some of their bearing and nobility in bearing their lord through this castle. And you see the doors start to swing open as you all are walking through, and you see all manner of terrible things. There's giant spiders, there's bats, all manner of hunched and withered undead that just all flee out of the way as you all are making your way through, until you finally arrive out in the garden, worn in black and gray. A tarnished, silver-plated gargoyle, shaped like dragon wormlings, cling to the stone tile roof of this mausoleum. An 8-foot-tall, 4-foot-wide marble door set into the southwest wall is engraved with the name Argynvostholt.
This is it. This is where the knights, what was left of them, put his headless body to rest.
Perhaps no longer have it be a headless body.
The door does not seem locked, but it is stuck. It is warped with time and no use into the frame. A little muscle could probably open it if Desmond or Finn wanted to give it a shot, as Tatiana is currently occupied.
Desmond will do it.
I'll give a hand.
Desmond, you can make a strength check with advantage, as you and Finn both firmly but respectfully kind of put your shoulder into it.
And with their permission, I will give them guidance.
Excellent. D4.
Perfect.
Am I rolling with advantage as well?
You're just giving him advantage from your helping.
Okay.
Nat 20.
It's pretty much perfect, Desmond. You sort of run your hand over the woodwork here, and you kind of can't help but make eye contact with Voronica, because this is the sort of thing you would have done all the time back home. You kind of intrinsically understand to just give it a little nudge right there, and it creaks and slides open, having done no harm to it at all. The interior of the mausoleum is dark and dusty. You see 4 empty alcoves with raised floors. Etched into the far wall is a verse written in Draconic. Do any of you speak Draconic?
Good question. Let me check.
I do speak halfling. Mac and cheese.
Not Draconic for me.
Mac and cheese.
Primordial?
That's not Hobbit.
Voronica, it's legally distinct from Hobbit. It's halfling.
Yes.
Most definitely.
Voronica, I am sending you what it says.
Well then. Here lie the bones and treasures of Argynvost, Lord of Argynvostholt, and founder of the Order of the Silver Dragon.
I feel as though
I thought it would be longer.
It only looks that way.
Succinct. But
Yeah, I think the letters, they're longer, and like the translation, it seemed like. Anyway,
Well, when you paraphrase, you lose something in the translation.
that's right.
I mean, I think we're undoing a great injustice here. Hopefully, they'll all see it that way.
Would you like to place the skull there, Tatiana?
Initiate a step forward with my fellow pallbearers.
You notice as you start to approach the mausoleum, they don't go inside. One by one, they let go, carefully,
give me a warning.
making sure that you can bear it. And you see they all just sort of salute and turn with their backs against the wall.
Uriah, maybe it would be proper to say a few
I got this.
words.
I step into the mausoleum. Lower as slowly and gently and carefully as I can muster. Place it where the head should be. Give it a twist. In honor of Argynvostholt, who had many followers, that shows greatness, who has many who still speak his name, which shows even more greatness. Uriah?
Yes. We lay to rest Argynvostholt and hope it lifts the burden on those who followed him to battle.
You see, all of you see, in the middle of the room, a light begins to coalesce, roughly in the form of a man, until it takes on the shape of the person you saw in the tapestry, but glowing and brilliant.
Hello again.
He looks down at his hands and he says, Uriah, you've done it.
Well, it was a group effort. Most definitely. These are my friends, and they have also labored on your behalf.
He turns and he surveys all of you, and his eye stops on Voronica and narrows for a moment.
She's not always traveling with us. She's an associate, old acquaintance of several members.
You see he draws a long, glowing, beautiful longsword and still stares at her for a moment and turns and looks back at you, Uriah. I would like to bless you with the greatest honor I am capable of bestowing. Would you kneel?
Of course. You honor me.
He leans down slightly and says, prepare yourself.
Right.
I hereby bless you as a member of the honor of the Knights of the Silver Dragon. And he taps you with the sword, but he hits you with it. Because contrary to popular opinion, real knighthood was not this like dink dink, just whap whap. I mean, he hits you for 3 points of damage, Uriah, but it's kind of with the flat of the blade. It's
This is a little hazing ritual that the knights like to
rise, Sir Uriah.
It's gonna be sore. Yes. Thank you.
He puts his hand on your shoulder and says, you have done a great service, not just for me, but for all the people of Barovia. And as promised, my light will shine again, bringing hope to the hearts and minds of those who have dwelt without it for so long. Look, gaze and see. And you see out the window, all of you see, about a dozen more of these revenants have come shambling out and surrounded you. And he holds his hand up, and you see one by one, they light comes out of their eyes, and their wounds heal. And they look like they are glowing and semi-spectral just like him. And they look down at their hands. He says, Sir Uriah, would you command my legions in one final battle against Strahd von Zarovich?
Oh, command. Yes. Yes, I will.
You will all follow this man unto death. And when your enemy is slain, you may join me in the halls of your ancestors. And they all salute and kneel down.
Oh, at ease? At ease? As you were? As you were. Not as you were when you were undead, but, well, you might still be. Just smoke them if you got them.
They stand up again and resheath their blades. And you see Argynvostholt walks over to the sarcophagus in the middle and pushes it open, where you see a clump of bones inside. Far, far too large to be that of a man. Nahara, from your memories, and Uriah, from what you saw with your own eyes, after the death of Argynvostholt, Strahd took most of the bones back to Castle Ravenloft as trophies. So there wasn't much left to bury. But you do see in there something that you instantly recognize, Nahara. You see a bladeless hilt. It is silver and etched in the corner of the hilt, right in the center, with a mark like the sun.
Look.
Yes, that's it. That's it, yes. The blade. Strahd's spoken of having it destroyed. Apparently he succeeded.
Nahara, the last time you saw this sword is what you now realize was supposed to be on your wedding day, when Sergei showed it to you. The beautiful crystal blade it once had is gone, but that is the hilt of his sword.
But then all was lost. If the Count was successful, if he did destroy the sword, then perhaps some magic still lingers within it?
I don't know.
Perhaps. Well, there we go. I'm showing the hilt of the sun sword there. Got a little busy on the overlay, but there you have it. That's what the hilt of it looks like.
Do you think this can be restored somehow?
They call it the sun sword.
Yes.
Nahara,
I had seen it.
You get the distinct impression, you don't know why, but it's happy to see you. It knows you. It's happy to see you.
I would like to reach out for it.
When you reach out and take it, you feel a wash of emotions. Happiness to see you. Sadness at the loss of Sergei. Rage towards von Zarovich. And it ignites, where in the absence of a blade, pure sunlight erupts out of it, the length to where the blade would have been.
Impressive. Most impressive.
I had never seen it do this. Perhaps there's still hope after all.
Oh, a blade made of sunlight itself. No wonder von Zarovich would fear this. I mean, the Count.
You see Argynvostholt turns towards you and says, "You need not fear speaking his name any longer.
Oh, good, because I really screwed up there.
This, what you have done, is sure to get his attention and a direct response. Are you all ready to do what must be done? To face Count von Zarovich and deliver him to his damnation?
I have waited lifetimes. I am ready.
Sir Uriah Micawber of the Order of the Silver Dragon, reporting for duty.
You see,
Tatiana Astoria, I will protect my friends to the very last.
Tatiana, you see he looks at you for a second, and he says...
It's fine.
You bore my bones across the land of Barovia. Perhaps if I had had a warrior of your strength and capability, we would not have suffered such a bitter defeat that day.
Probably not. I mean, thank you. That means a great deal.
He just sort of nods at you, and he looks at you, Desmond. And you. Your heart is heavy, friend. I know what was taken from you. There is no guarantee that it can be restored.
I know.
I can no longer actively engage in this battle. But I can assist you in a way that von Zarovich will never expect. Thank you all. Your names will not be forgotten. Sir Uriah, make us proud.
Rest well, Argynvost. And thank you for doing what you can.
You see he holds his hands out, and he begins to glow brighter and brighter. And you see he floats up towards the ceiling and through the mausoleum. And outside, you see all the knights look up, and he floats towards the highest tower of Argynvostholt and lands on it, and a brilliant light illuminates that pierces up through the sky, driving the clouds outwards as a radiant energy echoes out from this place all across Barovia. You realize from this distance, this bright shining light would be visible everywhere. You would be able to see it from Valaki. You would be able to see it from Krex, from Berez, from Old Bone Grinders, from Van Richten's Tower, and especially from Castle Ravenloft. And as this light washes over you all, for the first time since you've set foot into the dread domains, you feel hope, goodness returning. You feel strengthened and emboldened by this. Voronica, it feels terrible. And you hear Argynvost's voice in your ear, in your head, Voronica. You know you do not belong here, in this good place. Tell me.
I know.
Do you wish for redemption?
Do I have to answer that now?
Indecision is a decision. But I will offer you this courtesy, as you had a hand in my restoration. My knights will not raise their hands against you now. But the next time they see you, you will be every bit the foe that von Zarovich is. You stand in opposition to the light. There can be no peace between us, whatever gratitude I may feel.
Understood.
Say your goodbyes, Dark Lord. You are not welcome here.
This is something where I have complete faith in all of you to do what needs to be done.
You're not coming with us?
I can't.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
already on borrowed time. There is
Thank you.
more that needs, of course. Do what you can. See this through the end. There's more that needs to happen. This isn't the end of everything, but hopefully just the end of Strahd.
Thank you, Voronica.
I hope you understand what I need to do now. And she takes Tatiana's hand and looks at her. You're needed with me. And as she says that, these mists of green and black swirl around the two of them, and the Kamadan wraps its tail and the snakes around Tatiana, not in a constraining means, but as a protective means as the mists embrace. And Voronica looks at Tatiana. This needs to happen.
Can we talk about this? I mean, wait, my friend, they were
No.
just. I understand.
And
you can
as
do
you hear
this without me.
As you hear that, the last of the mists surround them and pull the two of them back, and all that's left are the gray mists of Barovia.
Oh,
And Tatiana,
Valentine's not going to like this. Valentine is not going to like this.
and here, in the newly redeemed Argynvostholt, the light of hope radiating across Barovia for the first time in centuries, which is sure to get an equal and opposite reaction from Strahd von Zarovich, is a good place for us to stop.